He's Dan Hicks. He's NBC Sports lead golf play-by-play man and getting ready for the Ryder Cup in France coming up on Friday. And he joins us now. Dan, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing, Dan?
I'm spectacular. If you didn't watch yesterday, how would you sum up what you saw?
I would sum it up by saying you're probably not going to see anything like it. No, not probably. You'll never see anything like it again because there'll never be the comeback because that happened yesterday. Now, I know a lot of people think it's not official till he gets a major, but you're never going to see anything like that from a 5+ year drought to what Tiger's been through, to the new Tiger who presented himself, I think, to a lot of people yesterday in a way that they have not seen him in his previous 79 wins. So I think if you missed yesterday or if you wanted to sum it up, you would simply say it's a once-in-a-lifetime viewing experience. It was that special.
And as you're seeing this crowd, it's almost like the British Open where they sort of give birth to the champion when he kind of emerges out of the crowd there. But when you start to see this swell, what are you thinking as Tiger's walking up 18?
I'm thinking the same thing everybody else is. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And, I mean, when those ropes went down and those people – now, obviously, that doesn't happen with any other golfer. It's not like we've seen that scene in past tour championships. It's just not going to happen. But that was the enthusiasm all week. And it was even more special because Tiger had the lead from the get-go. This was a wire-to-wire win. So this whole thing had been brewing. And I had a chance to go to the practice tee every day. My schedule allowed that. So it was neat to see Tiger warm up and appear on the practice tee every day. And so when I went out there were people literally waiting 2-3 hours just for his appearance on the practice tee with their cell phones out as he was going to come out. And there was a standing ovation each time he walked out to the tee. I mean, there was stuff going on, Dan, out there that, that we weren't able to show with our cameras, but just the comments by people, the parents bringing kids and these kids seeing Tiger Woods for the first time and the parents explaining what this guy's all about because it had been so long since he'd done this. So it was special all the way around. I'll never forget it, certainly.
And I think what is interesting is if you're 13 or 14 years of age, you have no idea what this is all about. You're seeing something, but if you're a golf fan, even if you're 20, you might have no idea of what Tiger Mania used to be. And even these younger golfers, I thought it was very humorous. Like Justin Thomas would say, man, I'd love to hear those Tiger roars again. Rory talked about that. All of a sudden, you're paired next to Tiger and like, oh, you asked for it? This is what it's all about. And
exactly.
we saw what happened to Rory yesterday, shooting at 74.
Yeah, he got caught up in the Tiger vortex. I mean, here's the guy's 42 years old. These guys have been, and a couple of them have publicly said, hey, I'd love to, and Rory's one of them. I'd love to go head-to-head with Tiger. Justin Thomas said that's my dream, going head-to-head with Tiger. But look what Tiger did playing with Justin Rose, who's a little bit more of his contemporary. Ricky Fowler, one of the young guys still, he got caught up in the Tiger vortex. And then Rory McIlroy got sucked into it yesterday, and he was just along for the ride. It's amazing stuff, and I think people seeing it for the first time finally get it, what we're talking about, because, we kind of get crushed a little bit by some people out there that think we're just so Tiger-centric and all we show is Tiger. And, geez, what about these other younger guys, Spieth and Fowler? You guys get so caught up in Tiger. Well, yesterday's a reason why we get caught up in Tiger because there's nothing like him and there's no one in history like him.
And I know that you choose your words carefully. We talked to Steve Sands about this, of what kind of comeback this is. Not just golf, and I mentioned Ben Hogan, who nearly died, but a lot of this with Tiger was self-inflicted, but still, it's still a incredible comeback. And can you label it the greatest sports comeback of all time?
Yeah, it's difficult, and it was so crazy yesterday that it would have been nicer to have a little more time to try to put that in perspective. But here's what I would say about comebacks, and anybody that argues that this wasn't one of the greatest, if not the greatest. You could talk about Ben Hogan. That was a near-death experience, obviously, and you can bring in all sorts of others, Muhammad Ali and Monica Seles, but no one comes close to going through the public scrutiny and the humiliation, again, brought on by Tiger. but you have to factor that in this day and age of social media, and not only the original downfall back in November of the fire hydrant episode, but just 16 months ago with the mugshot that made its way around the internet. You cannot deny that the physical comeback, the 4 back surgeries, all the knee surgeries, and all that physical stuff is huge. But no one has gone through that kind of humiliation. And it's so important, obviously, for any athlete to have confidence and feel that way. And that's what Tiger built his entire career on, was having that impenetrable confidence that he was going to get it done. That was all torn to the ground. He had to build it up. It's not the same as it was, and it never will be, but it had to get to a point where he could have the confidence in his game to put it out there at a big tournament like yesterday and get it done. So comebacks, no one's come back from that kind of thing.
And also, you have the Ryder Cup coming up. I don't know if there's a hangover or is it momentum for the U.S. team, because you saw a lot of those golfers who stayed just to congratulate him, that it just feels, the Ryder Cup feels a little different now, because now you got the hammer there, whereas you couldn't count on anybody in that U.S. lineup where you go, I can count on. It feels like Tiger is back to and his Ryder Cup record is not great, but still, I'm curious about that momentum as you guys go to France. What do you expect?
Yeah, it's always tough to gauge. There's been a lot of golf played this stretch of the season. Tiger's played more golf than he has in 5-6 years. Jordan Spieth was not even a part of the Tour Championship, so he's gotten rested. But most of these guys, the majority of the guys that you saw compete in the Tour Championship this week from Europe and the U.S., have played a lot of golf. And you never know, what's going to happen over there. Patrick Reed wasn't on his game at the Tour Championship, but he's a guy that's thrived in the Ryder Cup atmosphere. And Tiger, we'll see. It's going to be really interesting, because I think you could throw out the book on form. I think you can throw out the book on what history, what Tiger's record is, even what Phil's record is. And Phil Mickelson's record is certainly not stellar. But he's played on more Ryder Cups now, or will, than anybody in the history of the sport. And I just think that the moon and the stars are aligned with everybody that's been playing so well for the most part, and what both teams are comprised of, the stars and the personalities, and Tiger and Phil back. This is probably going to be the last time you see Tiger and Phil on a Ryder Cup team. I just don't think that Phil is. I think this is Phil's last run. So enjoy it. Just like we enjoyed Tiger's victory yesterday. You never know how many there's going to be. And enjoy this Ryder Cup, because this is going to be pretty special, I think.
Safe travels, Dan. It was great listening this weekend. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good to hear that Steve Sands is still very high up on the all-lobby list, because I think he's a future Hall of Famer. I think that he's got that kind of potential. So
but you were always working late. You had all the swimming events. You were I never saw you at all-lobby bar. I think,
I think the all-lobby team is, you got to pretty much remember that there's obviously not, enough of a demanding Olympic assignment for those people that can make the all-lobby squads like Steve Sands. We got to, you're not going to see Bob Costas or Mike Tirico throwing back brewskis all night long at the Olympics. You're just not going to enjoy those kinds of moments. So Steve Sands, rise to the occasion again, pal, at the next Olympics in Tokyo.
Okay, if you walked by the bar and you saw Bob Costas there bellied up to the bar, more reason to stop or more reason to keep going?
More reason to give my brief, lame impersonation of him, such as, Bob, is there any way I can perhaps buy you a beer? Or are you taking a break from beer and going pure wine on these particular Olympic Games?
Back after this.
Back after this, it's stretch time in Florida.
Thank you, Dan. Safe travels.
Where did this interview go? It went right down the tube.
I have no idea.
EP, great to talk to you, and good being in your former town of Atlanta this week.
And by the way, tell my wife, Hannah, that I said hello.
I will.
Yeah.
Take care, buddy.
Thank you, Dan. Dan Hicks. A little backstory there. Had some people who still believe. Don Imus thought forever, radio host, thought that Hannah was married to me.
Technically never married to you.
Never. I don't think. Not even in like a short ceremony, like, what was it? Winona Ryder
Oh.
and Keanu Reeves in a movie got married, and then they thought it might hold up or something. But no. Who was it? Somebody else who thought that Hannah was my wife. Oh, Hannah. That's right. No, I'm kidding.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.